We are now seeing the faces of 12 of the 14 people who died in San Bernardino on Wednesday. They range in age from 26 to 60 years old. We want to take the time to share some of their stories with you right here at the hyperscreens. Take a look. This is 40-year-old Robert Adams. He married his childhood sweetheart. They had a 20-month-old daughter. They were planning her first trip to Disneyland next week. Take a look at our next photo here. This is Benetta Betbadal. She's a mother of 3. She moved from Iran to the United States to escape religious persecution. We also want to show you a 27-year-old. This is Sierra Claiborne. She graduated from the University of California in 2010. Friends say she was always smiling, such a beautiful girl. And also a 50-year-old. There we go. This is 50-year-old Juan Espinoza. He was a health department inspector who left behind a wife and 2 children.
Well, as you saw a moment ago, the couple's landlord let reporters into that couple's home this afternoon. It was surreal as we saw where the 2 lived in a home that in some ways looks like any other. Channel 4's Nicole Snyder joins us now with a look inside. Nicole?
Ken, this was the scene inside the home as reporters and photographers fought for position to see inside. And you would think we wouldn't get a view like this 2 days after the shooting, but an FBI spokeswoman said the search was over at that location. This is what reporters saw inside the home office. You can see they were taking a close look at the desk that was there where there was a computer monitor, but there no longer appeared to be a computer there. Reporters say they saw IDs, driver's license, and passports throughout the home. Reporters inside say they also found numerous signs of the couple's religious faith, and various books with Arabic writing could be found. They say there were also stickers around the home, like the one with a prayer to be said during the day. Reporters also said it was clear that the FBI had been there based on the damage. Listen to what one CNN reporter described.
If you look up here, you can see where they smashed up into the ceiling to take a look to see what was up there. It does appear, based on how much debris is on the ground, that there was an effort to get up there and make sure that they checked every crevice of this back bedroom. And it does seem like it may have been the main bedroom that was here.
Also visible, a reminder of who the couple left behind, a 6-month-old daughter. A crib was in the home with blankets and toys. Across the room, an activity center was sitting on a treadmill. Next to that treadmill, something that appears to be a blanket for the little girl to lay on and play with toys above. Now, the landlord says today's visit to the home was the first time he'd been there since he'd refurbished it before the couple moved in mid-May. Back to you, Kent and Joy.
Thank you, Nicole. Joining us now is our crime and safety analyst, Gil Smith. More insight on going behind the scenes, I guess, as investigators work.
Gil, thanks for joining us. First of all, we know, as you heard, the suspect's landlord allowed news cameras into the apartment. I mean, you don't even have to know a lot about police work to know, usually in a major crime scene like that, it would seem as though that area would be off limits, maybe even guarded for days.
Yeah, someone made a major mistake here, because even later, police came back and the place was boarded up again, and he was carried away in an unmarked car. I guess they needed to talk what the landlord was. So I think a major mistake was made there. But one thing is that anything of evidentiary value was already removed from the premises by the FBI. So there wasn't anything there that the FBI needed. But what's dangerous about this is that now this is only a 2-day investigation so far. Now, as they investigate further, and they may link other people involved, if it's possible, they would have needed to go back inside the apartment to see if there was anything there that they overlooked the first time or thought wasn't of value that may be of value. They can forget about that now because the area has been completely contaminated.
We're being asked to interrupt. Sorry about that, but we want to get to a news conference going on
we don't
with family
represent,
members.
The shooters, Syed Farouk or Tashin Malik. We do represent the brother-in-law and the mother of Syed Farouk, and also his brothers and sisters.
Who's the brother-in-law?
Farhan. Yeah.
Yes. Both of you get close to the mic, please. How many other brothers and sisters are there?
There's 2 sisters, and there's 1 brother.
2 sisters of Farouk?
Saeed, yes.
All right, we are standing by, waiting as they get the names straightened out and figure out who these are. It appears these are attorneys for the families of the shooters. They are trying to respond.
The message that we want to give is that what we'd like to say on behalf of the families and the Muslim community in general is that just as late as 1 p.m. today, the FBI chief James Comey came out and said that there was no sign that the alleged shooters belonged to a larger organization, like a larger organized terrorist group or terrorist cell. So, I mean, they're trying to, or they have come up with some things where they're trying to say that they were inspired by some groups, but there hasn't been any clear smoking gun evidence that they were part of any particular cell or any group. They're pointing to things that they saw on Facebook under different account names. In the case of Tashin Malik, she supposedly had a Facebook account set up under a different name that they say visited some group that may have been had ties to, to more,
And as more information keeps coming out, we're going to be able to identify which facts are accurate and which facts are not. And that is the whole point of us meeting with the FBI. We've been in open communication with the agents of the FBI. We've been at their offices in Riverside. We were there for about 4 hours yesterday, and we'll be finishing up on Monday, hopefully, with some of the other family members. As more facts come out about the types of relationships that each individual family member had, we're going to be relating that to you guys as well.
Yeah. Well, what can you say right now? What do you know about what inspired them?
What we can say from our 4-hour interview, or the investigation that took place with the FBI yesterday, is that none of the family members had any idea that this was going to take place. They were totally shocked. That is, Raheen, Syra, and Eba, that is the brother and sisters of the alleged shooter, had no idea, to the point where when they got word that there was an incident that had taken place, they were worried about the health and safety of Saeed and Tashin because they had it was just, there's never been any evidence that either of the two alleged shooters were aggressive, had extremist views. They were totally shocked that this could take place, as shocked as anybody else was.
And the family members knew Tashin as a sister-in-law. That's what they knew her as. They had a basic relationship with her. It wasn't overly close, but it wasn't too distant. So the information that we have right now was shocking and as surprised as the family was when they found out the information that actually came out. There's no official determination of what the reason was when we actually were discussing everything with the FBI yesterday. And they're still going through their facts and their diligence as we are as well.
If there's anything remarkable about the investigation that took place yesterday, it is that no ties could really be established, to the point of frustration on the part of the FBI. I mean, if the most evidence there is to any affiliation is a Facebook account under another person's name that supposedly just visited some site, then that's hardly anything at all. And throughout the whole process of the investigation yesterday, it got to the point where the FBI actually said, look, let us explain ourselves. We're trying to find evidence or information that could cause us to believe that Saeed Farouk was in some way affiliated with this incident, like something inspired him to be involved.
You've been listening to the attorneys for the family of the alleged shooters, basically distancing the family from the incident that happened.
Yeah, we were just talking with our crime and safety analyst, Gil Smith. You're going to hear more from him when we come back. We're going to take a short break.